temporary economic decline during which trade and industrial activity are reduced, generally identified by a fall in GDP in 2 successive quarters. Now, here we have the Industrial Production Index. Each of these gray bars represents a recession or downturn in the economy. So, as you can tell on the far left, we have the Great Depression, and on the far right, we have the 2008 financial crisis. Now, as you can tell, since the last financial crisis, we haven't had a recession or a downturn in the economy to a great extent. There's no gray bars. And it's been about 10 years, which is the longest period that we've got, longest gap that we've gone through on this graph without having a downturn or recession in the economy. So, as you can tell, we're most likely due for one. So if we are due for one in the near future, how do you protect yourself? What should you do? Well, I have a little list here to go through. First off, move investments to recession-resistant sectors. No investment is necessarily recession-proof, but you can invest in more recession-resistant sectors. Save money. Have a monthly savings account and a monthly savings amount and become more frugal with your money. Figure out your finances. Learn about any debt you have, pay off credit cards, etc. So in this video, we're mainly going to be talking about recession-resistant stocks and what stocks to invest in during a recession or before the recession happens. So here's a checklist to go through to know if it's recession-resistant. So first off, the company's product that you're investing in is needed still during a recession. So obviously people need to eat, people need to buy groceries. So food companies, grocery companies, etc. The stock price historically doesn't fluctuate much during times of crisis. So you can check the graphs and look for periods on within the stock price that is, during the Great Depression, 2008 financial crisis, the tech bubble, etc. And then you can tell how much the price fluctuated during that time. If the price didn't fluctuate much, then it might be a good option there. And it's a diversified company or investment. So more spread out means less risk. And you still want to check the 2 points on the cluster of stocks. So the stock that you invest in should match all 3 of these points, not necessarily just one of them. All right, so first off, food/grocery stocks. So this includes McDonald's, Walmart, Dollar Tree, Kellogg's, etc. A lot of these stocks will still be affected by a recession, and on average, these stocks dropped about 25% during 2008. However, they all tend to recover in about a year, so you may have to bag hold for a bit, and if you're okay with that, then that's all right. And most of them also offer dividends. People always need food and groceries, so on average, these companies will recover or won't be as affected as others might be. Still, make sure to do some research on the company you're investing in. ETFs. Now, ETFs is basically a cluster of stock and different holdings. Now, consumer staples select sector, and this is just a few that I looked up and researched here. So this one offers a 2.5% dividend. The top holdings are Walmart and as well as Kellogg's. Then you have, it's around a 20% dip during 2008, but it recovered incredibly fast. So it recovered within about 6 months, that ETF did, to the price that it was at previously. Invesco Food and Beverage ETF, you have a 1.28% dividend. Its top holdings are Kraft, and it took around a 30% dip during 2008. However, its slower recovery took about a little over a year to recover from that dip. And the Vanguard Consumer Staples ETF. Vanguard has lots of ETFs that are pretty good and that are fairly recession resistant. You just have to do a little research on your own there. 1.9% dividend. Top holdings are Pepsi and Kellogg's as well. Took around a 30% dip during 2008 and had a medium recovery, so a little less than a year, but around a year to return to its stock price before the recession. Now, do further research to find an ETF that suits your risk tolerance. Some, the dip may be a lot more during 2008. If you look at the 2008 or previous recessions, etc., it may be more than what you're willing to handle. Or if you don't really care about that, maybe you just want a high dividend, look for a very high dividend ETF or stock, etc. So third, foreign stocks. Now, although in 2008 the recession that pretty much affected the entire world, finding foreign companies to diversify your portfolio into other perhaps more stable economies can be a good choice if you believe a recession is coming. So some of the most stable economies in the world are Finland, Denmark, Sweden, as well as Japan, etc. And they have pretty stable economies overall. So looking into these foreign ETFs could be a good way to diversify your investments as well as invest in a more stable economy if you believe a recession is coming in the near future. So other recession-resistant investments to make. Precious metals and commodities. They have very low fluctuation rates over time. Gold, for example, really doesn't fluctuate much in price, and it usually increases in price no matter what, even during a recession. So the federal bond funds, now these are bonds backed by the federal government. So the only way you're going to lose all your money here is if the federal government goes under and basically the United States is no longer a thing. So you have a pretty safe bet there. But obviously your return on those isn't going to be much. But during a recession, your goal is to get a smaller return, but just protect your money. That's the main thing you're doing. So dividend funds, and I talked about this a little bit previously. Even if the fund dips, even if it takes a 30% dip, you're still going to receive a nice dividend, and that might actually cover the amount you dipped over a long period of time. Or as it recovers, you're actually going to come out on top, because by the time it recovers, you'll be receiving, probably 2 or 3 dividends by then, which could give you a nice return. Utility companies and ETFs. I didn't list these earlier, so I wanted to mention these now, but I really haven't done much research on this sector. But utility companies are always needed, even during a recession. So are recessions bad? Is this a bad thing? Could this be the end, etc.? Well, no, recessions aren't actually unusual. In fact, they're a healthy part of any economy. They can be more devastating than they should from a multitude of factors that could create a larger bubble than intended, as 2008 is a great example. Although recessions may lead to people living harder lives, losing jobs, losing homes, etc., they also provide opportunities for those who are smart with their money and prepare for the recession. And I hope this video helped you out with that. So thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe. We have some upcoming videos soon, predicting when the recession will happen, Tesla and its relationship with China, why you should never trust analysts, exposing Jim Cramer, and why I dislike him as an analyst. So we have some very high variety of videos coming up, so make sure to like and subscribe this video, and make sure to turn that notification bell on. I'm going to get back into the groove of uploading regularly again. I've been on winter break from university, so I haven't had a ton of time since I've been working a regular job as well. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.